What if everything we've been taught about human history is missing its first chapter? Imagine a civilization that existed before the first king, before the pyramids, before written history itself. A civilization so advanced that all traces of it vanished, except for a few mysterious symbols carved into clay thousands of years ago. Deep beneath the deserts of ancient Mesopotamia, archaeologists uncovered thousands of Sumerian tablets. Most recorded taxes, trade, and royal decrees. But a handful contained stories so strange that they still fuel debate today. They spoke of worlds that came before our own, mysterious beings with extraordinary knowledge, and catastrophic events that wiped entire civilizations from existence. Were these simply myths created to explain the unknown? Or were they distorted memories passed down through countless generations? Tonight, we're diving into one of the most fascinating mysteries of the ancient world. Stay until the end, because the fifth civilization disappeared in a way that sounds disturbingly similar to the world we live in today. More than 6,000 years ago, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a remarkable civilization emerged. The Sumerians. They built massive cities, invented one of the world's earliest writing systems, developed mathematics, mapped the stars, and created legal codes long before many other civilizations existed. Unlike cultures that relied only on oral traditions, the Sumerians wrote everything onto clay tablets using wedge-shaped symbols known as cuneiform. Thousands of those tablets survive because fires accidentally baked the clay into durable ceramic, preserving them for thousands of years beneath layers of sand. When archaeologists finally uncovered these forgotten libraries, they found records of daily life, kings, temples, floods, creation stories, and mysterious beings that seemed to belong to another age. Most historians interpret these texts as mythology. But some researchers believe they may preserve symbolic memories of humanity's earliest traditions. One recurring pattern appears again and again. Creation. Growth. Power. Corruption. Destruction. And then, a new beginning. Several ancient stories describe different ages of the world, each ending in disaster before another begins. Rather than presenting them as literal scientific history, many scholars view these accounts as symbolic lessons about pride, knowledge, and civilization. Yet the descriptions are so vivid that they continue to inspire speculation even today. According to these legends, the first beings were known as the Sky Watchers. They were said to possess extraordinary knowledge of the heavens. Every night they observed the movement of stars and planets, recording patterns that ordinary people could barely understand. They measured seasons with incredible precision, predicted eclipses, and believed the universe followed hidden mathematical laws. Ancient storytellers claimed that kings and priests sought their wisdom before making important decisions. Harvests, temples, and entire cities were planned according to the positions of the stars. For generations, the Sky Watchers were respected as guardians of cosmic knowledge. But then something changed. As their understanding grew, so did their confidence. The legends say they no longer believed they were simply observers of the heavens. They believed they could control them. Temples grew taller. Ceremonies became more elaborate. The stars were no longer guides. They became tools of power. According to the story, warnings appeared in the night sky. Strange lights. Unexpected eclipses. Comets burning across the darkness. The elders urged humility, but the younger leaders ignored every warning. Then came the great fire from above. Some versions describe blazing stones falling from the sky. Others speak of thunder that lasted for days and a darkness that covered the land. Whether this represents a meteor impact, volcanic ash, or simply a symbolic tale of collapse, nobody knows. When the destruction ended, the Sky Watchers were gone. Their observatories lay silent. Their knowledge scattered. Only fragments remained, waiting to be rediscovered by civilizations that would rise thousands of years later. And that is where the mystery truly begins. Because the tablets claim the world did not remain empty for long. From the waters of the ancient world, another civilization was about to emerge. A civilization that carried wisdom unlike anything humans had ever seen. And their story is even stranger than the world was silent. The great observatories of the sky watchers had collapsed into dust, their stone circles buried beneath sand and ash. The stars still moved across the night sky, but no one remained to read their hidden language. For what seemed like ages, the ancient stories say the earth waited. Then something unexpected happened. Not from the mountains. Not from the forests. But from the sea. According to some of the oldest Sumerian legends, mysterious beings emerged from the waters at dawn. They weren't described as monsters or conquerors. Instead, they appeared as wise teachers. Ancient scribes called them the fish sages, or apkallu, figures with the body of a man wrapped in the skin of a fish, symbolizing knowledge rising from the deep. Every morning they would leave the sea and walk among the people. Every evening they would return beneath the waves. They taught humanity how to build cities instead of villages, how to measure time, how to write symbols that could preserve knowledge forever, how to grow crops, organize laws, and calculate the movement of the heavens. To the people of ancient Mesopotamia, civilization itself seemed to arrive from the water. Even today, archaeologists continue to debate why so many early cultures believed wisdom came from the sea. Some think these stories represent traveling scholars arriving by boat. Others believe they symbolize the birth of organized society. And mystery researchers suggest something even stranger. What if the fish sages were survivors of an older civilization that escaped a global catastrophe? Imagine a coastline thousands of years before recorded history. Entire communities thriving where oceans now exist. Then the climate changes. Ice melts. Sea levels rise. Cities disappear beneath the waves. The survivors travel inland, bringing with them advanced knowledge that appears almost magical to local tribes. Over generations, history transforms into legend. Teachers become gods. Scholars become supernatural beings. And boats become creatures emerging from the sea. Whether myth or memory, one fact remains fascinating. Many of the world's earliest civilizations connect knowledge with water. But according to the ancient stories, success created a new danger. The fish sages became famous across the land. Kings competed for their wisdom. Temples grew larger than ever before. Cities expanded at incredible speed. Trade routes stretched across rivers and deserts. Knowledge created power. And power created pride. The legends say the rulers stopped using wisdom to serve the people. Instead, they used it to control them. Massive monuments were built while ordinary workers struggled to survive. Rival cities fought over resources. Greed slowly replaced balance. Then nature responded. First came weeks of endless rain. The rivers overflowed. Fields disappeared beneath water. Villages vanished overnight. People climbed rooftops searching for safety. Animals fled toward the hills. The sky remained dark for days. Ancient tablets speak of a flood so enormous that it erased entire kingdoms from existence. Modern historians know that Mesopotamia experienced devastating floods throughout its history. Some archaeologists believe real disasters may have inspired these legendary accounts. Others see the story as a warning. Every civilization that forgets balance eventually destroys itself. When the waters finally receded, the fish sages were gone. Some stories claim they returned to the sea forever. Others say they left hidden knowledge buried beneath temples, waiting for future generations. For thousands of years, people searched for that forgotten wisdom. Some believed it was hidden inside sacred libraries. Others claimed it rested beneath the Persian Gulf, where entire prehistoric landscapes now lie underwater. And then, according to the legend, a third civilization rose from the ruins. Unlike the peaceful teachers before them, these new beings measured greatness in stone. They built structures so enormous that later generations could barely imagine how they were created. And some say traces of their ambition may still stand on Earth today. The floodwaters had finally disappeared. Rivers returned to their banks, forests began to grow again, and new generations settled on the empty land. But according to the ancient legends, the world did not start from nothing. Scattered across the valleys were impossible ruins. Gigantic stone foundations. Perfectly cut blocks weighing hundreds of tons. Broken stairways leading nowhere. No one knew who had built them. The survivors simply called their creators the stone builders. Unlike the wise fish sages, these mysterious beings were remembered for one thing above all else: construction on a scale that seemed impossible. The legends claimed they could move enormous stones without thousands of workers. Their cities were built to survive floods, earthquakes, and the passage of time. Walls stretched for miles. Temples touched the sky. Massive underground chambers protected knowledge from future disasters. Some storytellers even believed the stone builders understood mathematical principles centuries ahead of their time. Every building was aligned with the stars. Every foundation matched the movements of the sun and moon. Nothing was placed by accident. Even today, archaeologists continue to study ancient structures across the world that display astonishing engineering precision. The Great Pyramid of Egypt. The massive stone terraces of Peru. The giant blocks of Baalbek in Lebanon. The megalithic temples of Malta. Modern research explains these monuments through the incredible skill, organization, and determination of ancient human societies. Yet their scale continues to inspire endless speculation. How did people without modern machinery transport stones weighing dozens or even hundreds of tons? For mystery enthusiasts, these questions created the legend of the stone builders. According to the old stories, their civilization believed one idea above all others. If they could build something large enough, they could defeat time itself. Kings ordered monuments larger than any before them. Cities competed to build taller towers. Every generation wanted to leave a greater mark than the last. Resources disappeared. Forests were cut down. Mountains were carved apart. Entire rivers were redirected to feed endless construction. The people believed they were creating immortality. But nature was keeping its own record. Then came the shaking. At first it was barely noticeable. Small cracks appeared in temple walls. Animals fled without explanation. Birds abandoned their nests. The ground trembled again, and again, until one night everything changed. According to the legends, the earth roared like thunder. Buildings that had stood for generations collapsed within minutes. Stone towers split apart. Roads disappeared beneath the ground. Dust covered the sky so completely that daylight looked like sunset. Some stories describe earthquakes. Others speak of volcanic eruptions or massive landslides. Modern geology confirms that ancient civilizations throughout the Middle East experienced powerful seismic events capable of destroying entire cities. Whatever inspired the legend, its message was unforgettable. The strongest walls cannot protect a civilization that believes it is stronger than nature itself. When the dust finally settled, the great cities of the stone builders had vanished. Only broken foundations remained. Future civilizations discovered these ruins and wondered who could possibly have created them. Some believed giants once walked the earth. Others believed forgotten kings possessed impossible technology. And some whispered that the builders had hidden their greatest knowledge deep beneath the ground, waiting for someone worthy enough to find it. But the cycle was not over. From the ashes of stone and dust, another civilization emerged. Unlike the builders, these beings mastered something even more powerful. They learned how to control fire. They melted rock into metal, forged weapons unlike anything seen before, and unlocked technologies that transformed the ancient world. For a time, they believed nothing could stop them. And according to the legend, their confidence would lead to the most devastating disaster the world had ever seen. The ruins of the stone builders slowly disappeared beneath sand and forests. Centuries passed. New tribes settled among the broken monuments, using ancient stones to build their own homes, never knowing who had placed them there. But the old legends say civilization was about to rise once again. This time, not through wisdom. Not through architecture. But through fire. They were remembered as the Firekeepers. Unlike every civilization before them, they discovered how to transform the earth itself. They dug deep into mountains searching for rare minerals. They built enormous furnaces that burned day and night. Copper became bronze. Bronze became stronger weapons. Simple tools became machines that could reshape entire cities. The fire keepers entered an age of invention unlike anything the ancient world had ever imagined. Their blacksmiths were treated like kings. Their engineers designed bridges that crossed impossible rivers. Their craftsmen created gears, locks, and mechanical devices so advanced that later generations believed magic was involved. Trade exploded across continents. Wealth flowed into magnificent cities. Knowledge spread faster than ever before. For the first time, civilization seemed unstoppable. But every new discovery created a new temptation. Metal designed for farming became metal designed for war. Machines created for construction became machines of destruction. Competition turned into conflict. Neighbors became enemies. Kings demanded larger armies and stronger weapons. The firekeepers believed technology would guarantee victory. Instead, it accelerated their downfall. Ancient storytellers describe skies glowing red throughout the night. Entire forests disappearing to feed endless furnaces. Rivers poisoned by mining operations. Animals abandoning territories that had supported life for generations. The earth itself seemed exhausted. Then came the Great Burning. Some legends speak of endless firestorms. Others describe volcanoes erupting across the horizon. Some tell of cities consumed by flames that lasted for weeks. Modern historians recognize that Bronze Age civilizations experienced periods of collapse caused by war, climate change, famine, and social instability. Yet the mythology transforms those events into something even more powerful. A warning. Every civilization that creates technology without wisdom eventually builds the instrument of its own destruction. When the fires finally faded, silence returned once again. The furnaces were cold. The workshops empty. Weapons rusted beneath layers of ash. Only melted stone and broken metal remained to tell their story. Future generations discovered strange objects buried underground. Perfect circles of bronze. Fragments of forgotten machines. Unexplained tools whose original purpose had been lost forever. Some believed they belonged to gods. Others called them cursed relics. But the ancient legends insisted the greatest civilization had not yet appeared. Because after wisdom, after the sea, after stone, and after fire, came a civilization unlike any before it. A civilization that possessed not only knowledge and technology, but the ability to preserve every idea, every discovery, and every secret. They believed information itself was power. They collected it, protected it, controlled it. And according to the oldest stories, their collapse would be the most frightening of all. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because they had more knowledge than they knew how to handle. And some believe that their fate looks disturbingly similar to our own world today. The ancient stories say that after the fall of the firekeepers, one final civilization rose from the ashes. They were not remembered as the strongest. They were not remembered as the greatest builders. And they were not remembered for conquering kingdoms. They were remembered because they knew everything. According to the legend, these mysterious people collected knowledge from every civilization that came before them. The astronomy of the sky watchers. The wisdom of the fish sages. The engineering of the stone builders. The technology of the firekeepers. Nothing was forgotten. Every discovery was written down, copied, and stored inside enormous libraries that stretched beneath temples and cities. Their scholars believed that information was the greatest treasure in existence. The more they learned, the more powerful they became. Soon they could predict the seasons, calculate eclipses, organize massive populations, and communicate across vast distances through networks of messengers and symbols. Knowledge became currency. Information became authority. Those who controlled it controlled the world. At first, their civilization flourished. Trade expanded. Science advanced. Cities became richer than ever before. But then something changed. Instead of sharing knowledge, they began to hide it. Libraries became restricted. Only a small elite could access the most important records. Ordinary people were told only what rulers wanted them to know. Truth slowly became controlled by power. The legends say the people stopped asking questions. They accepted whatever they were told. Curiosity disappeared. Independent thought faded. And a civilization that possessed more knowledge than any before it slowly became weaker from within. Then came the final catastrophe. Unlike the floods. Unlike the earthquakes. Unlike the fire. There was no explosion. No giant wave. No mountain collapsing into the sea. The civilization simply began to disappear. Cities emptied. Libraries were abandoned. Roads filled with sand. Temples stood silent. Knowledge that had taken thousands of years to collect vanished within a few generations. Some stories claim civil war destroyed them. Others suggest disease spread through crowded cities. Some believe climate change forced people to abandon their homes. And mystery researchers propose an even stranger possibility. That the civilization collapsed because it could no longer distinguish truth from illusion. Whether history or mythology, the lesson remains remarkably timeless. Every civilization in these ancient stories follows the same cycle. The first believed they could control the heavens. They vanished. The second believed wisdom alone would save them. They disappeared beneath the flood. The third believed stone could defeat time. The earth shattered their monuments. The fourth trusted technology without restraint. Fire consumed everything they created. And the fifth believed unlimited knowledge guaranteed survival. Instead, they forgot how to use it wisely. Perhaps that is why these stories survived for thousands of years. Not to record forgotten species, but to warn future generations. Today we build taller cities than ever before. We create technologies that connect billions of people instantly. We collect more information in a single day than ancient civilizations gathered in centuries. Artificial intelligence writes. Satellites watch every corner of the planet. Machines make decisions once reserved for humans. For the first time in history, humanity possesses knowledge on a scale that ancient storytellers could never have imagined. And that raises one final question. What if the Sumerian legends were never trying to tell us about 5 species that lived before humans? What if they were describing 5 different ways every civilization can destroy itself? Pride. Greed. Power. Technology. And the misuse of knowledge. Perhaps the oldest tablets in history are not looking into the past at all. Perhaps they are looking into the future. And perhaps, the 6th civilization is us. If that is true, then the ending of this story has not been written yet. The next chapter depends on the choices we make today. So the real mystery isn't whether these forgotten civilizations ever existed. The real mystery is whether ours will. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient history and mythology, subscribe for more documentaries exploring the world's greatest mysteries, lost civilizations, and forgotten legends. Because sometimes the oldest stories reveal the most important truths.